growth in wisdom, knowledge, you see, self-understanding and self-discovery, healthy relations, self-control. All those things are hateful. But this is the only way a minority can rule over a majority of people, is by turning their minds backwards so that they love the things that destroy them and hate the things that move them forward. In order for these people to rule over us, we must hate learning. It has to be built into us. We must think that we can't do math. Because you see, if we do math, if we were into learning, if we were into research and into thinking and into, real philosophical ideas and abstractions, we would defeat those people. They know it. So consequently, what they must do is rob you of all of these things so that they may stay in there.
Good afternoon. Thank you for tapping in. This is Brian HRap Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. A few minutes with HRap. First time I'm doing this on YouTube. Welcome aboard to the YouTube people. It's great to see y'all. Great to have y'all aboard. It's important that you hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in. And today, who's next? That's the title of it. I thank my parents before I start this every day. Dolores and John. Without Dolores and John, they created me. I created this. Without them, you'd be doing something of your valuable time, as I do every day. If you're not watching this live, I want you to go to www.theendofthebench.com, www.theendofthebench.com, and check out the website. You'll get the Black History Facts. You'll get this in its entirety, and we'll be able to move forward. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I want you to hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in. Sorry for the delay, but my fault. StreamYard had a server issue today. That's why I couldn't start 30 minutes ago when I was supposed to. Thank you for coming in. To the people in the chat room, thank you for checking it out. It is important that you do so. Now, who's next? It's the title of this episode. Who's next? The reason I say who's next, I'm going to show you a couple video clips, and there's some interesting things in these video clips that you've seen it 1,000 times. I'm going to show you a long form. Then I'm going to show you a short form. I'm going to do the long form first, and then we'll go back to this, and I'll tell you about why I'm showing you this video. It is important. A lot of people ignore these things, and people are not paying attention to it. I'm going to show you the long form, like I said initially. Then I'll come back and explain why I showed it, and then I'll walk you through why I'm even coming on today, and then I'll show you the short form and show you why we need to pay attention to these things. I'll be right back.
I'm Hispanic, and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump, we love you. We love you all the way to the White House.
Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last night we gave them a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. Los Angeles would be not a lot different than what you saw take place in California and Los Angeles just a little while ago. And, you got to remember, we have the Olympics coming. And we don't want people looking at Los Angeles like it would have been. It would have been bad. Last night, they had total control. If we didn't have the military in there, the National Guard, and then we also sent in some Marines, we had some bad people. We have people, they look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. And these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. They're agitators. They're paid. Do you think somebody walks up to a curb and starts hammering pieces out, has all the equipment necessary, and starts handing it out to people to use as a weapon? These are paid insurrectionists or agitators or troublemakers. You can call it whatever you want. And we ended it, and we have in custody some very bad people. Some very bad people.
Mr. President.
Did you see the guy throwing the rocks at the police cars as they went by and crushing their windows and endangering our police? January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly. I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. People in that crowd said it was the most beautiful day they've ever experienced. There was love in that crowd. There was love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love.
Now, did you see that? You saw three instances. You saw a woman speaking up for him and then speaking against him. You saw him speaking against the people who were protesting, people who are documented, people who are literally citizens of the United States of America being grabbed by ICE and put in containment camps. Same thing that happened to the Asians, same thing that happened to the First Nation people, same thing that happened to us. And that's why I'm saying who's next. The reason I'm saying who's next, allow me to slow down because I'm excited. The reason I'm asking the question, who's next, because we've been put into a situation to where we want to point the finger. That's what they get. That is what they get. When you don't do your due diligence to educate yourself on the laws and the extreme behaviors of the people who are diametrically opposed to your existence, you will suffer the consequences. Do your due diligence or suffer the consequences. But as people who are educated, as people who are informed, who's been under the tyrannical boot of the United States of America government for 400 plus years, we understood what their mission was. Everybody does not have that. A lot of people have the illusion of inclusion. They have been duped into believing, no, the government could never do that. And there's a lot of my brothers and sisters that are going to disagree with me today because they don't think this could happen to me, but it can happen to you. It will happen to you, and it has happened to you. The problem is this. We are sitting around looking at a community being terrorized. Look, we're watching people being scooped up in the containment camps, and then we don't realize those people under attack are potential allies. You don't have to procreate with an ally. You don't have to have a meal with an ally. You don't even have to live with an ally. But an ally is a person with a common enemy. It is more commonly stated, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's how you determine this. If you're a good person, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Earlier today, I was talking to a brother. I'm not even gonna call him a friend. I was talking to my brother, and we were talking about this very thing. And he was like, hey man, people, they need to get what they deserve. And I was like, you're right. But what I explained to him and what I will explain to you, while people under attack and we watching the news and we see in other communities being scooped up and we're hearing things like, hey man, they snuck over here, they were illegal. That's why I'm gonna show you the short form of that in just a second. What you have to understand is this: if it's a bully in the schoolyard, everybody been in the schoolyard, everybody seen a bully. If he's going down the line beating the hell out of people, and it's the last 5 people left, here's the thing: if the last 5 people don't get along, do you stand there and watch yourself and the other 4 people get the hell beat out of you, or do you come together, beat the hell out of the bully, and then sit back and go your separate ways? That's how you beat the bully. That's how the bully has always been defeated. That's why your ancestors fought in the Civil War, not because Abraham Lincoln thought so great of us. People like John Horse, look it up. John Horse, he was part of the Seminole Wars. He moved from Virginia and South Carolina, and then he moved down to, what did he do? He moved down from Virginia, North Carolina to Florida, and he helped the Seminoles beat off General, soon to be President Andrew Jackson. Abraham Lincoln had that knowledge. He said those people are warriors, those people are indestructible, and they know how to fight. And he enlisted people from Florida and enslaved people who had escaped to fight in his war and win. That's what you have to do. Do you think enslaved people really want to say, hey, Abraham Lincoln, we really like you? Hell no. No, but in order to maintain something that is semblant to freedom, the ability to build upon what you already have and what you see people have, you had to get in bed with people who may or may not like you in order to be where you need to be. Do what you have to do to get what you need and what you really want. That's the key. And we can sit back at the other communities and say, hey, that's what they get. And guess what? I totally understand that. But what I do also understand is this: you're next. I say this on a regular basis. My goal in this is to make my great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren have a more peaceful life than I had. And the only way to do that is to defeat situations like that are on the horizon. If Art of War says only go to war when you are prepared to win, separated from everybody who is working class, everybody who is identified as a minority, because how in the entire hell does 10% of the population classify anybody as a minority. Another thing, this is something else that I truly want you to understand for people of African descent, whether you're Caribbean, whether you Canadian, South American, or African American in these United States. The continent of Africa is the largest landmass on this earth. And at some point, the Nigerians didn't help the Botswanians, the Sierra Leoneans, the Kenyans, the Egyptians, and the Europeans came down there and systematically took over that entire landmass. Only country over there that didn't get colonized is Ethiopia. So what I want you to understand is this: they didn't get along and they got compromised. We don't get along with every community here, and they are getting compromised. This is when I want to show you the same video, but in the short form. It is only, I think it's only like 8 seconds. Pay close attention to what this lady says.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump. We love you. We love you. All the way to the White House.
Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
Did you hear what she said? They sold us out. It was betrayal. But what she didn't even realize she was saying is she betrayed her own people. Latino people betrayed themselves because some of them said, okay, get them out. We're white adjacent. That's what they said. We're closer to white people and we're not like those who snuck in. Paul Rodriguez, longtime comedian of Latino descent, of Mexican descent, talked about kicking out the illegal Mexicans. Some of those illegals may be related to your dumb ass, but it was okay because he was okay. And you see what happens when you make yourself white adjacent, white nationalist adjacent, and y'all know how I feel. I have no problem with humanity. I do this program speaking to my community, but I'm speaking to people in general because guess what? Whether you look like me or you're a little lighter and part of the Latino community, or even if you're poor white, they don't like your ass either. So you can identify as white, or you can identify as German Irish, or you can identify with your heritage and understand, just like at one point in this country, no N-words, no Italians, no Jews, no dogs, no Irish could be let in certain restaurants. So how in the hell do you think those things have stopped? You can either join our Latino brothers and sisters in this fight while you understand that, hey, I'm next. It happened in Nazi Germany. They did it in Poland. They did it in Nazi Germany. They did it in France. They did it in This thing is an ongoing situation. History continues to repeat itself until you correct it. And if we're not correcting it by saying, hey, they get what they get. I don't like them. They don't like us. That's our problem as a community, if you ask me. I don't have to like any politician. I don't like any ally. I need to just be able to move in the same direction until I get what I want, and then I separate, you separate, and we will continue to live our happy lives while we fight off a common enemy. The common enemy is people who believe in supremacy, bigotry, and they believe that discrimination is the way. And if you want to live that way, hey, I'm not trying to help you. I need to make sure, again, my great-grandchildren's grandchildren live a more peaceful life than my parents and I did. That's it. That's all I'm trying to communicate to people. Again, we allow mainstream media to shape what our community is. Oh, well, they don't like us. How is it that you're comfortable painting with a broad brush, but you get mad when they say all black people are lazy? All black people are ignorant. Look at the violence that they conduct. How is it fatherless homes? Look at the broken home. You broke my damn home when you brought me over here. Y'all didn't say, okay, all the people that are Torres and all the people that are Antetokounmpos and Mutombos, all of y'all come together. We're gonna move y'all to Kentucky. Nah, you broke us up. This is a systematic destruction of the black family that has been going on for 400 years. 1619 is when the first documented person was brought over here and insert an indentured servitude, documented, because there was people here already. I'm not going to get into that. But what I want you to understand is these are the things that we can have to get away from. How can you speak for it? It is 120 people live, 20 million people living in Mexico. How can you say all of them don't like you? Just like you're stupid enough to repeat Africans don't like black people. You met everybody in Africa. Hell no. You probably only met 4 Africans in your life, but you're stupid enough to say that. I don't like to go to black restaurants. Did you hear that lady say, oh, see, we need to get our stuff together. We don't work together. Did you just hear that lady say she sold out her people? She stood in front of the world and boldly professed, I sold out my people because they aren't documented. They're not like us. I've taken the necessary steps to be down with the cause. No, you haven't, because you got kicked out. And for my brothers and sisters, it'll never happen to us, right? Yes, it will. Because did you ever think abortion will be rolled back? Did you ever think affirmative action will be rolled back? And guess what? I'm old enough to have lived in a time in which my mother, in my lifetime, couldn't get a credit card or a bank account without her father or her husband's signature. Those things are coming back. Anti-housing discrimination. And then guess what? If you get sick, it's getting to the point, if they roll back that 1965 Civil Rights Act, your ass can go to a hospital and they can say, we don't serve niggas here. And I usually don't say that word, but that's what they're going to say to you when you get there. Understand, the only reason you have rights is because it's a sheet of paper that the people in power signed and said it's okay for you to be treated like a human being. So the ancestors of those people who've been indoctrinated into the same hate, the same discriminatory process, and the same laissez-faire disregard for your humanity, those people are still in play, and they're doing away with those laws. You thought it was gone. I mean, we had a black president, and now you got a Ku Klux Klan a member as the president, if you ask me, in my personal opinion. Now you have a white nationalist as the president, and he's rolled back so many things, and he has buffoons like Clarence Thomas, my bad. Clarence Thomas doing his dirty work, because it's easier to get, as the great Malcolm X said, anytime you step up and say something that is against the power structure, they go get one of us to push back on it. Clarence Thomas is proof positive that that man was correct. We can no longer sit around and wait on people to do the right thing. You must step up and be prepared for the fight. You're going to watch people be under attack. You're going to watch people get theirs. Your ass is going to get yours. Life experience tells you that you're next. That racism train does not stop at Latino people. And then what they do is they attack the LGBTQIE, then they attack the Latinos. Who's next? Your ass. And keep playing. You're going to mess around and find out. You're going to mess around and find out. Today is the anniversary of one of the greatest. With that being said, today is the anniversary of one of our fallen soldiers. His name is Mega Wiley Everett. Today, I will show you a video that highlights his struggle, his life, and his accomplishments. Hit that like, hit that share. I'll be back shortly. You already know.
Was a civil rights activist and first NAACP field secretary in Mississippi until he was assassinated by Byron Della Beckwith, June 12, 1963. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. If you like to support the channel, you can do so on my Buy Me Coffee or my Patreon page in the description below. Please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and support the YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's get started.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the
Looks like Judy interrupted that, but hey, go to my website. You can watch that video in its entirety. It's important that you do so. Hit that like, hit that share, tell a friend to tap in. Sorry for that upending of the broadcast, but if you go to www, that's why I do this. That's why I put it on my website as well, just in case the internet tripping, because the internet falls short sometimes. Now, what I want us to understand is this: getting ready for getting in front of the fight. Yeah, it's in of the bench, so it's the fight. Getting in front of the fight, we must understand what we up against. You must start asking questions. One of the questions you need to ask is, the Constitution states that the president cannot send the National Guard in without the permission of the governor, which is the president of that state. He didn't get that. Why is it that the United States Congress, the House of Representatives and the Congress, why aren't they acting and writing in orders of impeachment? You need to be reaching out via the app called the 5 Calls app. When you look at the 5 Calls app, what happens is this. You can contact your personal people, your representatives, and then you can enforce your will upon them. See, it's easy because we're sitting back. Hey, they're not going to do this. Yes, they can. They have to do it. But you don't know that because you thought the Constitution test was something that you just took and passed to get out of 8th grade and out of high school. But you should have been paying attention. You see, my man RC said Dick Gregory said that Everest said he was with Everest the days before he was murdered, and said, there you go. Dick Gregory is one of the great ancestors as well. If you want to follow me on TikTok, you'll see me and highlight him tomorrow. Ironically, he brought that up. Now, with that being said, what was I saying? Oh, we have to be prepared and understand you have to fight community, you must fight socially, and you also must fight governmentally. If you don't understand how the government works, how can you fight against this? You must be prepared to fight. But a lot of us are just going through the motions. They're saying, okay, in 4 years, he'll be gone. Do you understand over 160,000 women have lost, black women have lost their jobs in the last 45 days, 45 days? 160,000 black women have lost their jobs. You know why? Because they're doing away with affirmative action. And if affirmative action does not make me hire you, I can get rid of you with no repercussions. These are the things that you're up against. See, use your intelligence. Download the 5 Calls app. Get on the backs of these state reps. They're representing you. If you're not going to tell them what to do, they are civil servants. They are servant. Civil does not mean polite. It is short for civilian. Civilian servants. Make them do their jobs. But they're not going to do their jobs because guess what? A lot of them believe in my man. Whether they have a D next to their name and an R next to their name. Because if everybody wasn't with it, why in the hell aren't the articles of impeachment being drawn up? He's speaking about foolish things like the Olympics. Guess what? Minorities run them Olympics. Brown people run the Olympics. How in the hell could you possibly be preparing to go to the Olympics in 2028 and people all around you are behaving this way? You walk away from the grocery stores for necessities. You walk away from electronic stores for necessities. When you start hitting these millionaires and billionaires in their pocket to the tune of $12 million a day at Target, if you only buy groceries and watch TV, guess what? That is your personal protest. Then you use the 5 Calls app and you call your representatives and you force them to go into action and end this nonsense. But if we're going to sit back and watch and say they get what they get, understand that boot to the behind is coming towards your behind next. I keep telling you, it is not a game. It is not a game. It's time for everybody in the world, everybody in this country to stand up. If you believe in truth, justice, and the American way, you need to stand your ass up, because if not, you're going to believe in discriminatory practice, oppression, and segregation and separation from opportunities. That's what's on the horizon. The next thing on the Project 2020, well, the third thing on the Project 2025 agenda is people who, like myself, objectors. They're going to either ask me to leave, they're going to pay me to leave, or they will incarcerate me. As I showed you the other day, there is a bill in Alabama to say we're going to take the incarcerated people and ship them out of the country. Do you understand where they got that idea from? They got their idea from Nazi Germany. That those concentration camps were people being put in other countries and contained. Understand, you think they gave the president of Venezuela $6 million so they can keep your ass in jail in Chicago, in Illinois, or in California, or New York, or Minnesota, or in Missouri? No. They need empowerment. The browning of America is real. People in America are realizing that if you look like I, or if you look similar to me, guess what happens? You realize that there's more me than you, and then the minority ruling the majority is over, and they assume that you and I, whether you're Latino, whether you're Asian, or whether you're African of descent, they think we will do to them what they've done to us. It's time for Black people to wake your ass up. and stop trying to be included and start getting your act together. If you can hit target for $12 million a month, imagine if you start living a reductionist life, reducing yourself to what you need versus what you want. With that being said, remember, man, as always, hit that like, hit that share. I really appreciate you guys tapping in. Subscribe if you haven't. And I really appreciate what you've done today. You've tapped in and forced. Go to www.theendofthebench.com. If you came in late, you'll be able to watch this in its entirety. If you disagree with any or everything I said, leave a comment. If you agree with everything or anything or everything I said, leave a comment. Wait till the program's over. I want you, as usual, I want you to wait to the end. And I want you to listen to Dr. Amos Wilson. Because he's saying something that you definitely need to hear. With that being said, 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm HRap B, and
I often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep